A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Season 1, Episode 2, titled Heart Soul Beef. And this episode, I found it to be, like, okay, this is one of those weird episodes where, like, what's happening in the episode is good. I like what's happening in the episode. And we understand the goals and the motives and the categorization and all that kind of stuff. But how it was done. How it was, like, technically done. Sometimes in this episode drew me a little bit insane. Like, there's a scene where Duncan is talking to a knight. And when the knight is talking, we see the back of his head. And I'm like, was that not part of the shot list? You know, get at least a mid shot? A medium close up? You couldn't do that? Was that not on the shot list? Did you run out of time? Like, what's the reasoning? Or was it the editor and the director was like, yeah, that's a good shot? You know, why? Why was that? That was a weird. That was a weird shot. That was weird. That took me a little bit out because I was like, why are we looking at this guy's head? You know, it's a conversation scene. You know, jump to the two camera angles. You know, jump character A, and then you jump to character B, and jump to character A, jump to character B. Plus, also mid fucking sentence to make it flow a little bit. So, there's that. That took me out a little bit. And then there was also the scene with Duncan. Like, the whole goal of this episode is that from last week, we understand that Duncan wants to get into this tournament. He wants to become a knight, and he is a hedge knight, and he wants to become a full-on knight and rule the Seven Kingdoms. But with a capital B, he needs to get approval. He needs to be on this list by a hierarchy, and by doing that, people need to remember his mentor, the person who raised him, who was a knight himself, who has passed away. But no one remembers him. I mean, I don't understand how people would forget the guy with the 20-inch slung, but that's besides the point. I mean, seriously, when his mentor walks out in the first 30 seconds of this episode, walks out of his house, fully naked, full frontal, and he's walking with a 20-inch dick to take a piss, and then it cuts to a woman laying in bed. I was like, yeah, that's why you probably are sleeping, because I said poor girl, poor lady, poor woman, because knowing how sex scenes go in Game of Thrones, he ain't doing it gently. Let's say that he ain't taking like, I'm just going to insert 6 inches of the 20-inch. No, he's probably whamming it in. Like so when the moment I saw the girl resting in the bed, I'm like, poor her. I was like, poor her. Oh, you poor vagina. Anyway, this is the second episode of this show. I mean, to be fair, there are only 2 episodes so far, but that has some bodily fluids. You know, we see Duncan taking a shit behind a tree. We see, his mentor taking a piss with his massive dick. More massive than I think anyone. Like, everyone's like. Anyway, I could picture some people would be like, where's mine? There's where it went. Oh, dear. Anyway, so we're capital B. We're capital S. But the scene with Duncan, let's go back on topic, but the scene with Duncan is finally gets approval, and someone does remember his mentor and all that. The scene went a little bit too long for me. And I know it's weird to say this, knowing this episode is like 34 minutes long. 30 minutes if probably not counting credits. So it's a little bit weird to say, they could just cut a little bit more in there, like cut after making penis jokes. Cut, they can trim, trim the scene a bit, because like he is on the list, and then he's stalling. He's saying thank you like 55 times, and then they add this information that he needs to change his shield because him not being a full blood relative, he should change his own logo. And that. And the problem, and I'm like, there's a way to trim it down to have all that happen, and still, essentially, I thought it needed to be better written, because honestly, when he says, you need to change your shield, and you go, aye, sir, and Duncan kind of goes like, yes, sir. Then cut to the next scene. You don't need him walking out, going the wrong way, or him saying thank you another 3 times. Like, I was kind of like the king, but that guy's brother who's like, now you get the fuck out. This is where you get the fuck out. And I was kind of waiting for that scene to end. Now, the rest of the episode, prediction is that they mentioned that the king's prince has the son, the king's son has, the prince's son, whatever the context is, has gone missing. I think Egg is. Like, it's very interesting to see a bold kid, and unless there's some reason why it, I think secretly he is someone big. Egg is connected to someone, connected. Maybe he's a Stark, or maybe he's a Lannister. I couldn't be shocked he's a Lannister or a Targaryen, and that kind of thing. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, look, you got House of the Dragon, and clearly Targaryens need to continue and have a lineage because, Daenerys needs to become a thing because of timelines and the original series and all that kind of stuff. And also him mentioning about, you're the Knights of the Seven Kingdoms and this was it, and Duncan's like, how would you know? Never mind. So clearly he is. I think merely he is the son. That's going to be the big reveal. We'll find out what happened. Why? How did Egg showed up in that? Showed up in that I was going to say cafe, that tavern where he first meets Duncan. Like, we'll probably find out what happens in a very short period of time. But you got that. We got a couple of action sequences that were pretty well put well. You got the tug of war scene that was like, okay, it kind of shows the life and the world, because in an oddly way, by these 2 episodes, it does kind of feel, even though we got a main plot going on, which is Duncan wins a tournament. That's the main quest for things. It's kind of a day of a life kind of show where we follow just the lives of these people in this situation of these days. So them occasionally doing tug of war kind of makes sense. And it was put together. And then, our first full-on action sequence with the horses was really well put together, really well shot and all that, and stuff like that. But yeah, look, I'm not fully hating on this episode, but I'm like, there's those things that kind of like, hey, trim here, maybe pick a different shot there. It's just one of those situations. Anyway, comment below and let me know your thoughts. Message slong.